Hi there, this is Carrie Moore, inspirational architect and founder of Carrie Moore International and the She is Excellence crowdfund sourcing initiative. If you've had a chance to already see the shorter video, the influencer video, where you see some statistics about Kristi House, thank you so much. More importantly, we hope that video provides you the sense of their why, their purpose and their value of what they do as a leader in providing mental health and wellness to children and to adults who are rising champions from either child abuse or human trafficking. I've made a commitment to raise $50,000 on behalf of Kristi House and am extending out this deeper tour of the examination room so you get a greater sense of just how powerful their impact is and why it's such an imperative that we as compassionate leaders are able to continue to balance humanity, to protect humanity, and to keep these types of resources and tools in place, not only here in South Florida, but also here in the U.S., and to continue to connect the dots of the leaders around the world that are focused on mental health and wellness for our children, for our teenagers, and for those adults who might still be in silence and are seeking to rise, not to tell their story of the incident, but to find the champion within them so they might be and experience true life, their destiny and their dreams. So thanks so much for watching this. And again, I encourage you to reach out to me. My detail is Carrie@carriemore.com, and my website is carriemore.com. And in this video, you see the link where you can make a donation. Thanks so much.
I'm just going to give you a precursor. The first time I walked into this room, you know, this can be somewhat emotional, so I'm just sharing that. But I think it's very important for us to experience it. What is that? Okay. I'm sure Dr. Shaw's not in here. Okay, so
It's a big moment.
come on in. Oh, come on in. Kristi House is a children's advocacy center, and basically there are 827 of us children's advocacy centers across the country. We have different areas of expertise. Some specialize only in child sexual abuse, some in physical abuse, observing other traumas as a child. But our main focus clearly is advocacy work for children and the healing process of childhood trauma. So for Kristi House, we have this consortium of community partners. It's called a multidisciplinary team. Our MD team is made up of the state attorney's office, law enforcement, Department of Children and Families, guardian ad litem, rape treatment center, and the foster care system in terms of the children's foster care agencies that we work very closely with, because we do have many of our children that are in the foster care system. So this office here is used by our Children's Protection Team, the CPT, as well as Dr. Shaw, who is our incredible psychiatrist. So when we have a specifically difficult case where we need to go ahead and do an examination right away, or the child is disclosing and then we realize that it is important to do a physical exam, instead of going to a public county hospital, we offer our community partners to come in and do the exams here. So it creates, again, it's all about a place of safety, stabilization, and then they can start healing. So Dr. Shaw sees his patients here for those that are on medication, as well as pre-meetings for the families and the children, who then the child can come into this environment, which is as child-friendly as we possibly could have designed it.
See all the butterflies? Yeah. I love the butterflies. And they're all rising. So it's a very different experience, you know, for someone to be here. Yeah?
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's colorful.
Yeah.
So much hope. It's so much bright
It is.
in this room.
It is.
And to connect the dots again,
Yes.
and Jennifer, I know I've shared with you about Sev, but when I was looking it over some of the notes of some of the work that we've been doing, and the statistic I have is that 60% of the children you're treating are adopted or in foster care. So it's a very relevant thing given her childhood experience and going through, a challenging experience in terms of the orphanage process and then out of that. And I'm sure it was a different experience. I just want to honor Sev in the moment because I'm going to guess we didn't get to walk in a room this pretty.
Can you share that statistic again? And
Yeah.
a little bit more
A little
context?
high. That might be a little on the high side. 60%? We had that?
When we,
Or-
with your, remember the day that I interviewed the caretakers in here?
Yes.
They said 60% were coming from foster or adopted care.
1 second. So 60% of the victims that are treated here are from the foster care center?
I want to fact check that.
Yeah.
I think
We'll
it's-
fact-
Some
we'll
very
fact
high
check.
number.
it's a very high number, and it comes into, it really speaks to vulnerability.
Correct.
It's really about
Well, let's say it's
vulnerability.
40%. Either way it is, it's a double digit and it
It
doesn't
is.
start with a 1.
Yeah.
Right, and these are
yeah.
coming
many.
from orphanage,
They're coming-
foster
fos-
care,
foster care,
or adopted
yes.
parents.
Or very highly dysfunctional families. Now, that being said, we also have clients coming through who come from the most affluent areas of South Florida, and they know that they will be receiving the best in class care here. So
Correct.
that's the dichotomy of this. Is first of all, it doesn't discriminate.
No.
Absolutely.
Sexual abuse does not discriminate, nor does trafficking. Perpetrators that that prey on children to sexually exploit them, it's a lot easier for them to prey on those that are most vulnerable. For example, girls in foster care. 90% of the girls that have been lured into the life of trafficking, 90% of those were abused, sexually abused as young children. So what we're committed to do, and we're going to do it, is we are going to eradicate. We're going to eradicate this horrific cycle, not only of the sexual abuse, but of course the trafficking. But we have to start somewhere. We have to stop the cycle,
Absolutely.
heal the
First step.
adults, heal the parents, heal the families, and heal these children.
Yes,
And hold the perpetrators. The demand, we need to get to the perpetrators and the people that are purchasing these children for sex and hold them accountable. And so we'll get there. We're on our way.
And the other amazing thing that I just want to capture on this place, because it, for me personally, took a long time to be able to see this, but I want to, again, honor the moment. We have to see the innocence in all of it, including the perpetrators, and that we all have to rise. If we're going to solve this in the form of a human crisis that we're addressing, then we have to begin to look at them differently, because they are somewhere in that cycle of abuse that's been ignored and silenced. And one of the most amazing things in terms of Abe and his work, here's Abe Nadimi, and someone who's creating a very unique entrepreneur school that goes after a disruptive process around what people are looking for, what they need, and also thinking about people who didn't have access to education. They didn't have the zip code lottery one. And you never know the path of how people end up in a place. I mean, we've all been in a place where you're like, how the heck did I end up here? And where I came from. And I can only imagine the innocence of people involved in that, or what we've seen and what I've experienced with Jennifer separately, people in this community who aren't aware of the challenge and the epidemic, the statistics, and they come here and they see this and they're blown away that this is happening everywhere, not just in the disadvantaged locations of Miami. In fact, when I was at Project Gold, there's a drawing that's framed, and someone, I would say that it has to be someone who's a teenager or a little bit older, said it all begins with the Chanel bag and the Yves Saint Laurent outfit, and it goes from there. So it gives you a sense of what's happening, the tools that are being used. But someone taught that person that.
Absolutely.
And we have to teach a different model, and that there's a different way to make money and that we can give schools to where people, if you come out of high school and you don't want to go to college or you can't go to college, you have better choices than to get involved in things that have no sense of humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my passion point.
Yeah.
Abe Nadimi.
Yeah.
Go with your school.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it does start with that, and especially, I mean, we have an incredible survivor mentor who now is in, she didn't go through our program, but she went through the foster care system and then was connected and recommended to us through mentors in her in Voices for Children. And she became a survivor leader, mentor in our Project Gold because she was a victim and now she's a survivor of human trafficking, and it all began when she was a teenager in the foster care system. And she is a perfect example of the overcoming great odds, but she's the first to say that it's really hard when you are just given hand-me-downs, when you don't quite have enough to eat, when you don't have enough even school supplies, because she was an excellent student. And so you understand that there's this financial, economic disparity, inequity, and it drives our society crazy. It absolutely drives people insane, whether it's the perpetrator or then, not saying that victims are insane, but it's like it drives you to a point where you need to survive.
Absolutely.
Food, water,
shelter.
Shelter.
Abe, I've told her about
Yeah,
my
it's 100%.
visions of the upside down
yes.
No, it's 100%.
hierarchy of needs, Maslow.
Yeah, and we're living it here, and that's such a profound theory that you're building.
Isn't it?
Because I believe that, especially for investors, they're going to get that.
Yeah.
And the ROI, because a lot of that is that. It's like I have to sell this concept that if we don't, it's what incredibly great things happen when we do something and make a difference, as we're living this right now, and you all are experiencing this firsthand. But what would happen if we don't? What would happen if there was no Project Gold? What would happen if there was no Kristi House?
Yeah, exactly.
Where would these kids go? We have so many people that are terrified and living well below the poverty line. How are they going to get access to services? I don't even want to think about it.
I can't
but
imagine.
you know what?
But it's
We need to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You need to be
Impossible.
aware of that. Impossible.
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 Impossible. And I love the fact that we're creating this energy in this
Yes.
space, because you know what? The kids are going to feel it. 'Cause
Yes.
we're like, yeah. And they're going to feel it when they come here, because they're going to be like, wow. And they're going to be like, yeah, that's just us. So let's sprinkle some more. Just
Yes.
sprinkle it in. Okay? Oh, he's so adorable.
Oh my gosh.